The mighty sons of Hercules once thundered through the years. These men of steel could never feel. Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your master of mythical muscles. And, well, I should have had something to go along, an alliteration with peplum, but I don't. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today is Wednesday, and we will be doing a book review of this fine book that is now 32 years old, 31, 32-ish. And I've had it for almost that long myself. I've reviewed it once on my blog, Zenoblog. You can find it. And corresponded with the author, who was very, very nice to talk to. I'd love to talk to him some more. But before we get too much further into it, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. We have reviewed several peplum movies already here, but this is a book about them. So far, it's been the best one I've seen, though there are more out there, including some of your humble agents that he did, which we'll see examples of. So let me know what you think about it in the comments. And are you ready? Let's roll. Olympia! All right, we're rolling. Here is my copy of the book. It was released. The copyright is 1993, 1994 by Stephen Flacassier. But we'll see more of the inside. It's just in black and white. There's no pictures. But his guide, I just love his guides, and I'd like to steal them for every time I review a peplum movie. But it cost a whopping $7. $6.95. I must have seen this advertised in Cult Movies magazine, maybe Psychotronic. I don't know. Peplums are, still back then. This was written 30 years ago, and lots of these were only available. Most of them, in fact, almost all of them, were only available in pan and scan, very badly faded, dubbed prints from television. And many of them he still did. He has in here. I think he's got Samson and the Slave Queen in here as a possible movie, but it's listed as possible because they couldn't find it. Samson and the Giant King is yet to be screened. Samson versus the Giant King. It's not even in here, but that's Machiste against Zorro. Samson versus and the Masked Rider is a possibility, but many of them, Revenge of the Gladiators, Revenge of Ursus, just, a lot. And there's been a lot more that have just shown up randomly. They started airing. So this is my copy. It's in pretty good shape, all things considered. And you can find a copy if you want it now on eBay for like $45. But I'm not selling mine. I really like it. It's still really a good resource. I don't agree with everything Steven says, but I think that's natural. So, having said all that, let's get into this. All right, here we go. The book itself runs some 70 pages. Very good, very informative, like I said. So there's the cover I have. Here's the inside, dedicated to all these fine people. Henry Rollins. Many of them are, I would assume most of them are his friends, but the introduction, before Rambo, Hulk Hogan, or the Incredible Hulk, even there was always Hercules. Machiste is a relatively new, so to speak. We've gone over that. Here is my first issue of Zenorama that I did way back, 6 years ago. Once again, Machiste and the fire versus the fire monsters, or fire monsters against the son of Hercules, where he's called Maxus. You can see that episode that we've reviewed twice here so far. Here is his legend. Gym teacher on vacation. Cool, bad, nice try. I think any monsters in these movies are just fun. They always elevate it. No monsters is not as much fun. There are some with no monsters that work very well. There's the love interest, yeah, and a lot of times these two are. We rarely get this one, but they do show up more often than you'd think. But these are the ones you want to see. Um, Military takes over. That happens a lot toward the end of the run. Peplums ran from say 58 to maybe 64, 65 before they ran out of steam. Despite some, and there were barbarians in the 80s. After Conan made a big thing, but the barbarian movies are different than peplums. They're not as, oh, I don't know what you'd say, mythic. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word. So most of these, of course, came from Italy, but a lot of were co-productions with other countries. So here's his review. It's really easy. I mean, he's got the synopsis and the review, which I like. So we just start right out here. He starts out with uh, Atlas, and that's Sandokan, which was his, or no, Aeneas, something. The Beast of Babylon. Yeah, I really didn't want to do all of these. There's the page one where he starts with the Atlas movie that Roger Corman made, which is adequate. It's got Mark Forrest, who later would play um, Apollo on Star Trek, wearing a peplum of all things. So, and then Atlas in the Land of the Cyclops, which I do like. There he is. I mean, it's pretty middling, it's good, but it's a little padded. A lot of these movies tend to meander a little too long, but for 90 minutes, if they're night run 90 minutes, they're good. We'll get to. I did find a copy of Atlas, so we'll see that at some point. That's Machiste, of course, which means from the rock. The monster is pretty decent too, the Cyclops, and then Homercles, which I had to put this in there because Stephen has inspired me to use this more than once on my own, and and it also is right above the fire monsters against the son of Hercules. And I've also done that with the Zorro book. I did the Poke of Zorro, which was a Simpsons faux movie. So I love the fire monster, Machiste slash Maxus. Some of the best of the worst. I think they're pretty good. I thought I put that in there, but we do have one of my episodes. So, which was Giant Metropolis. We've reviewed that. Which one does that? Oh, I don't remember what this one was. So, there, the Giant of Thessaly, which was the first. Now this was supposed to be Jason and the Golden Fleece. Now, legend has it that they changed the name Jason and the Argonauts from Jason and the Golden Fleece, but I couldn't find anything that said this was Jason and the Golden Fleece. So it says the Argonauts. Couldn't find anything on the internets about that. So, with some of stories about Ray, they're probably apocryphal. We weren't there. We'll never know. Goliath and the Dragon, which is fun, but not as much fun as you'd think it was. We'll review that at some point. Let's see, Goliath against the Giants. I don't even know which one that is. Some of these I've seen, and I've seen a lot of these. Even some of the non-monster ones or non-fantastic ones. Goliath against the Vampires we've reviewed, and this one pretty darn good. The Adventures of Hercules 2, which is such a ripoff of Clash of the Titans that we'll talk about that in a moment. But it's concluded both of these, and Lou looks really good in a beard. I think. I mean, he's dubbed, of course, and rotoscoping. So that, yeah, he's in 2, and he just didn't want to call him The Adventures of Hercules. But Luigi Cosi, who we've talked about in a previous book, and he just didn't want to start the movie. He felt bad. He said, "It's bad enough I'm starting with Roger Corman's cheapo Atlas that I don't want to put Adventures of Hercules 2 in there." So it's neither of these are kind of fun movies. I mean, was a pretty decent actor, and with his dubbing, you'd never know that it wasn't him. I mean, you'd think he was, but I have seen Hercules against Moloch, blah, There's the Hercules against the Moon Men, which we'll get to, of course, because that was pretty fun. And we can. The best thing about home video is you can skip over that damn sandstorm. Hercules against the Sons of the Sun, the Captive Women. I like that quite a bit, and it does have a monster too in it. It's better than Hercules in the Haunted World, which everyone seems to love, but me. And Princess of Troy, which was a pilot film, which starred several of these, but it's the Peplum stars. You can see Gordon Mitchell in there, Roger Brown, and Gordon Scott, one of the former Tarzan as well. It's quite good, and I don't know how they would have made it into an hour-long adventure show without, I mean, look, it was shot and released on television in 1965, which was the end of the Peplums. They missed the whole cycle, really. But let's see, the Hercules in New York. If you want to see Arnold as Arnold Strong, and dubbed in his first movie role. He looks great because he was properly pumped. Listen to me now and believe me later, but think about it today and remember it tomorrow. Arnold is properly pumped because he's not here to mess around. He's here to pump you up. I really should put a Hans and Franz thing in there. This one here is quite fun, and we will review it. You can see that in the clip that we'll show at the end, because it has mistaken identities abound. It has possibly you have to. He says you have to hang in there, but it does actually pit Hercules and Samson against each other, and it's awesome. I mean, it's they're obviously throwing styrofoam around, but the sound effects and they just go at it. I like it. I'm not exactly sure why this is in Hercules Unchained. That was the sequel to the first Hercules. I wanted to include Hercules versus the Hydra in here because, Jane Mansfield and Mickey Hargitay are in it, Dianera and Hercules, respectively. But I ran out of, I was, supposed to be doing my other job, don't you know? And of course, we do have to include Ray's first foray into peplum. And it's a very well thought out review. However, he also reminds everyone that the movie does not end. It closes with Hercules jumping off the cliff. They don't even get back on the ship with him and Medea. Now, how they would have, because they thought that, I guess they were going to make a sequel or thought about it. It never did, and it just ended. It's like a whiplash ending. And there are apologists for this movie who say, well, it ended, but, and I don't know how they'd have made the sequel because Medea does really awful, awful things. So they would have changed it quite a bit. Both Todd Armstrong and Nancy Kovac were redubbed for this movie. So, when Ray Harryhausen talks about dubbed movies, he's forgetting that several of his had people that were dubbed. Anyway, and now, having said that, I do think that Clash of the Titans should have been in here because it was released in '83, and it is a peplum of sorts. I mean, it's definitely a different sort of movie. It's got a huge budget, huge actors that ate up a lot of the budget. But when we get to Clash of the Titans, and oh yes, we will. I've had to hear about it for some almost 50 years. Everyone's going to have to hear about it. Anyway, so they're part of, at least they have an ending. So here's where he talks about it. Schizo of a book. Yeah, the effects, they're great. There's the fire monsters against the Sons of Hercules with Reg Lewis as Machiste/Maxus, Margaret Lee, who spoke both English and Italian and probably dubbed herself. And there he is. All right, so Machiste. This one's a very enjoyable run, Machiste and King Solomon's Mines. I'd like to see a nice copy of that. Anyway, it's just really fun. Medusa against the Son of Hercules. Now this one, comedy, My Son the Hero, I just stuck in there because of My Son the Vampire. My Son, there were several of those. It was aired once on TNT, maybe. I kind of wish I had recorded it because I don't think I've seen it since then. I'm going to have to look for it. It cannot be worse than than My Son the Vampire, which again isn't terrible. It's just too long at 74 minutes. Thor and the Amazon Women has to be seen to be believed, although I think that should be referenced as a comedy because yeah. Here is a real comedy. Vicky Trickett, what a name, and Samson Burke, as Hercules, Samson as Hercules. I enjoy it. It's a silly, silly movie. Oh, it does have Quint Redeker in it. I knew him. I might remember him from such television series as Days of Our Lives. And we end up with The Witch's Curse, aka Machiste in Hell, reinforcing my belief that Machiste is actually a Time Lord and not just a wandering muscle man. So there it is, and then he has an index here so you can find pages and everything, and the Erotic Adventures of Hercules. That just cracks me up that he put that in there. I mean, kudos, Stephen. Kudos to you. And yes, I did steal it for the Poke of Zorro as well. I'll admit it twice. There's Tar. Oh, jeez. And there's the back page where he got some last minute corrections and additions. And like I said, I mean, Sinister was starting to release 16 millimeter prints of these on VHS for $12 or $15 a pop. I got Hercules and the Masked Rider for $7 or $8 with the coupon at a local store. They ordered it for me, but they don't do that much anymore. There's the back again. There's my second issue, which was the fantastic, the magical, and now I just see that typo that no one told me about. Mystical and weird peplum movies. And where would I be if I'd have been thinking I'd have had this song piped up in as well, the Mighty Hercules cartoon song sung by Johnny Nash, who would later on sing I Can See Clearly Now, but I didn't think about it. It's a fun cartoon. It's not, you cannot watch these more than a half an hour because they're kind of repetitive, but it's fun. I saw several as a kid, on kiddie shows that they would have these, and Sinbad Jr. and Johnny Cypher in Dimension Zero. I'm trying to figure out how I can review some of these at some point in time, but I've yet to do that. Still working on it. I mean, I've only been doing this 3 years. We do have 735 subscribers. We're well on our way to 1,000. I appreciate all of you. Oh, there's Maxis and Moa, I believe. And tomorrow we will be talking about the next 3 episodes of Land of the Lost from Season 2. And until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. Olympia!
Through the centuries, in olden times, there lived the sons of Hercules, heroes supreme. They roamed the earth, righting wrong, helping the weak and oppressed, and seeking adventure. They were the mightiest of mortal men.
The sons of Hercules. The mighty sons of Hercules once thundered through the years. These men of steel could never feel the curse of a coward's fears. The mighty sons of Hercules were men as men should be. They burned with dreams, then turned their dreams into history. 100 giants, brave and bold, they ruled the world in days of old. The mighty sons of Hercules were men as men should be. They took the world and shook the world, the sons of Hercules. wandered through the years. These men of steel could never feel the curse of a coward's fears. The mighty sons of Hercules were men as men should be. They burned with dreams, then turned their dreams into history.